Hi everyone, welcome back to LaLa Land. It is so great to have you here to join us for a very special episode with Janet Bannister. Janet is truly an incredible person. She is the founder of the great Kijiji, where you can literally buy anything. I bought my cat off of Kijiji, which is like so kind of crazy. She has a decade of experience working in venture capital. And she is the founder and managing partner of Staircase Ventures. It is so lovely to have you here to join us today.
LaLa, thank you so much for inviting me. It's great to be here.
I'm so excited. Today we're going to be talking about something that I think a lot of listeners are going to find interesting, and I think that you are going to have a lot of valuable things to share on, and that is the topic of strategic thinking and creativity.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Let's get into it.
Okay, perfect.
So, I wanted to ask you first, how do you use strategic thinking and creativity in your daily work as a businesswoman?
So I use them both every day, and I think maybe as some specific examples. So what we do at Staircase Ventures is we invest in early stage technology companies. We invest into them, and then we work with them and help them grow. And so as an advisor to the companies, we work a lot in terms of both their strategy, what's their strategy, and also creativity. And I think, well, some people may think, oh, strategy is very sort of business and numbers, and creativity is on the other side. I actually view them as intertwined, because with creativity, you can come up with a better strategy. And so, an example maybe from Staircase Ventures, for instance, is we had a strategy. One of the key pillars of our strategy is to invest heavily in the founders' growth, so that we can help the founders of companies that we invest into. We can help them learn and grow and develop and show up their best every day. So that was a strategic objective. And then how did we execute on that strategy? It took creativity. And specifically, I was like, okay, great. If we want to do that and do that in a very distinct way that nobody else is doing, how can we do it? And I came up with some creative ideas. So for instance, like we offer all the CEOs get coaches. We have peer support groups. They have, all of the founders have access to a Cleveland Clinic health coach. And then we do all sorts of other things that are executed, like with the execution of that strategy is through creativity.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And I think it's so well thought out about the way that strategy and creativity can interconnect. I find that something that a lot of girls struggle with is actually putting forward that creativity and that strategic thinking. I think we have like the most amazing minds, but it can be really tough to actually implement your ideas and be confident about them. So I wanted to ask you what your journey has kind of been with like finding confidence in the business industry and really being able to put your ideas forward.
So first of all, I think you're absolutely right, that women in general, they tend, I think two things that I have, read about that women tend to do. First of all is, they've done tests, for instance, and, if a job has 10 qualifications listed, and then a woman looks at it and has 7 of those, on average, she will say, I'm not qualified. Yeah. A guy on average will look at those, and if he has 3 or 4, he'll say, great, I'm good to go. Yeah. Right? So it's that women, and then the other thing I think that's interesting about women that I have noticed is women like to underpromise and overdeliver. Yeah. And so I think the combination of those two things, I think it's super important that women have the confidence to stand up for themselves and to say, hey, here's my idea. Here's my strategy, here's my creative idea. So I'm very passionate about that subject. In terms of, what has helped me, I think a couple of things. First of all, I was a competitive runner when I was younger, and I think just that helped to develop my competitive spirit, but also my confidence, because it's like, okay, Janet, come on, you got to go to the front of the pack and, in a cross-country race or something, and you've got to go there. But I think also, like, even as recently as starting my own fund 2 years ago, like that took a lot of confidence. And one of the things that helps me a lot, frankly, is the friends and the other people who surround me. Yeah. And Another thing that I am very passionate about is that it's super important who you surround yourself with. There's that old expression that you become part of whom you associate with. And so for women or girls, or frankly anybody who says, hey, I want to help myself be more ambitious, I want to be more confident, then a great way to do that is to spend time with people who have those traits and talk to those people. Mm-hmm. And we all need a bit of a cheerleader sometime, and somebody who say, yes, you can do it, you can do it. And then that encourages and gives people the confidence that they can do it too.
I love that. And I actually think friends thing about how surrounding yourself with people who are going to cheer you on and have the traits that you aspire. I wanted to relate that back to how you build your teams for business.
Yes.
Are there specific traits that you look for in when you hire people and for just team members? And what is a strategy that you have at kind of leading people?
Yeah, so I would say absolutely. One of the core things that I believe is that it's not about what you know or number of years of experience or what school you went to or where you worked before. It's much more about how you are as a person. What are your character traits? Are you gritty? Do you work well with other people? Are you always looking to learn and develop and get better? So those are the types of things that I look for. And I also really look up for complementary skill sets and to hire people who are very different from me so that together we can be a great team.
I love that. That's it. That's fantastic. And when it comes to kind of leading them and making sure that, maybe just encouraging them, are there specific things that you try to do to kind of bring everyone together?
I think maybe I would talk about answer that question in terms of like my portfolio of companies. Yeah. And so right now we've made 7 investments. So I have 7 portfolio companies, and I talk to the CEOs every week at least, and help them learn and grow and develop. And one of the things I believe is that you can't really help somebody. You can't help them unless they believe that you are looking out for their best interests. So I think as a leader, that's super important. Again, there's another expression or saying that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I really like that expression because I think it's so valid. And so I think sometimes I see leaders or board members or whoever who come in and say, let me tell you how it should be done. And that's, I don't think is a very good approach, because people, they need to understand that actually you really care about them. And then once you have that deep mutual respect and authenticity and just mutual care, then you have that strong foundation that then you can therefore have all sorts of types of discussions.
And you mentioned authenticity. What does authenticity look like for you? What does that mean to you? Are you going out and trying to show people a side of you that's maybe not as businessy, or what is your strategy with that?
So I think for me, authenticity, and a lot of people say, oh, Janet, you're so authentic. And then I think, well, why would I be anything else? Yeah. And I think it comes from being confident in my own skin. And so, if I'm in a meeting and I think something's funny, I'll laugh. Yeah. In terms of, I say what I think, I'm not and I just think that I'm not afraid to sort of reveal the true me. So I tend to be quite high energy and enthusiastic. And so I just come across like that. I don't sort of try to diminish the natural me. And I think the other thing is, like everybody, has made all sorts of mistakes. And I laugh at those, right? Not laugh at them you have to learn, but I'm not afraid to share, oh my gosh, I really messed up. And sometimes I do things and I laugh at myself, and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I gotta phone somebody. Who can I phone that'll laugh at what a mindless thing I just did. To me, that sort of makes life fun. I'd hate to be somebody who's oh my gosh, I did a mistake, I can't let anybody know. To me, it's hey, everybody makes mistakes. We're all in this world, and let's just obviously, if you make a huge mistake, well, you better fix your mistake. But I mean, I don't know, do something funny. Then it's just okay, great, let's just roll with it.
you don't take it too seriously. Like, you just like you try your best, and then you go out, and then it's just like you make mistakes, you mess up, you have successes, you have failures, and it's just you move with it.
I think it's like that again. It's another expression, right? Like, I take my work seriously, but not myself. And I think that's super important. Like, when I think about our companies, and our companies need to, like, hey, they need to deliver certain objectives, or they need to do this. Like, that is, okay, we got to do this, we got to do that, right? And it's super important. But if I sort of like make a silly mistake, I can laugh at myself and be like, okay. So I think that's, and I think, so I am very driven and very hardworking and hard driving. That's true. But then I'm also balance that with an ability to laugh at myself and also like enjoy life. That's the other thing I think is super important, is that we need to enjoy the process. And so many times I'll say to people, we'll be in a big meeting and I'll just say, you know, isn't this so much fun? Like, isn't this great fun brainstorming this idea? Or I'll say, you know, someday we're going to look back and it's like, it's going to be 5 years from now and we're going to remember these days when it was, isn't that funny? And let's just enjoy today.
I need to ask, because you said you have a lot of drive and you work very hard. What drives you?
I think it's just an internal drive. And I've always been very driven, and I push myself hard and just want to achieve. I think it's, but I think it's very much like, okay, I want to get better. I want to learn. I still do a lot of exercise, and I'll get on my bike in the basement, and I'll be going as hard as I can until I almost fall off the bike. And then I'll think to myself, Janet, why do you do that? But it's just like, nobody else knows. Like, it's not like I'm doing it for a medal or whatever. It's just like, well, that's just the way I am. Like, I like to do that. I like to push myself. I like to see what I can do.
I love that. I love that. You're just taking it one challenge after another, and you're like in a competition with yourself. And that's just like the best kind of competition.
Yeah.
Just constantly pushing yourself.
You're constantly pushing yourself. And I think, but you need to have that. And then at the same time, recognize, okay, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be perfect every day. It doesn't mean that everything I do is perfect, but it does mean that I want to learn from everything. And like, I'll often, you know, get out of a meeting and think, oh, you know what? I probably didn't say that quite the right way. Okay, Janet, like, learn next time, do it better. But I don't beat myself up. And I think that's really important.
I love that. And I have one last question for you.
Okay, great.
What does success look like to you?
Well, so I think success, to me, it's very individual. Like, people need to define what is success for themselves is the question. And success to me is, I would say it's two things. One is finding enough time in my life and energy to do the things that are important to me. And so specifically, my family's the most important thing. So spending time and energy there. Be like my fitness. I've always been a competitive runner. Like, having time to do that is important.
Wow, I didn't know. Oh my gosh, I didn't know. That's so cool. I did not know that.
And then also, you know, doing well at work. So like, that's sort of all, like, having time to do the things that are most important to me. And then I think also from a work standpoint, though, specifically in terms of success, I have taken the time and been clear in my mind that, to me, my objective or mission or a success factor is, I want to help people be successful. And specifically, I want to help founders be successful. And I get so much satisfaction and joy from seeing founders grow and develop and grow as leaders and build their companies. And like, I just love that. I love that personal satisfaction of seeing that. And I sort of figure, hey, if I can help my founders be successful, if I can invest in great companies with great founders and they build great companies, then the results of the fund and everything else, that'll all take care of itself.
I love that. And I love to hear your passion. And it's very clear that you do use a lot of creativity and strategic thinking in your daily work. And it was just so lovely having you here on LaLa Land. LaLa Land, thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.